I'm here, I promise. Just even with setting shit up during lunch and then also stepping away to set shit up, something decided to not set up. Par for the course. Hello, darling salutations. 'Tis I, the Yaogwai, and welcome back to another Thursday night in the workshop. We are going to go ahead and continue where we left off with painting minis because they need to get painted, and I want to do that. So we do that. Oh my goodness, it has felt like a peak Thursday, it seems. I'm not the only person who has said,
darling.
oh my goodness. Thank you, Baguette, for following, for becoming a darling of the fluff pile. Welcome, 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 and thank you. I'm actually surprised to see someone from across the pond actually up at this late. But welcome in. Several of my regular haunts decided they were not going to stream today, or were going to figure it out later, maybe do it tomorrow. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Something along those lines. And I realized that tonight's actually pretty empty. So of course I'm gonna stream. I mean, I was gonna stream anyway because I needed to get away from my computer. If I spent much more time at it, I would start seeing things in vertices or vertexes, and I can't have that. Trying desperately to smooth out the palette paper, but it's not working, man. Why? Why not? Close enough. Okay. You were on Easter break, so you've been up until 4 in the morning recently. Well, welcome in, darling, and enjoy your break. Goodness. Thank you for joining us today. This is let's go with live cam. Normal Thursday thing now. We're going to be doing stuff in the workshop. We got in the camera a bit. This can actually move to the side. That's just a paint shaker I may not even use, but I plugged it in just in case I decided I wanted to. And I'm going to try and center. And that throws everything else off. Yeah. So basically, so long as I am within squares, I know I'm good. It's a pity though. Back on Monday, unfortunately, had 2 weeks though, so not complaining. Fair enough. Fair enough. I get no breaks and cannot take vacations because I spend my vacation time on being mentally unwell. Fun stuff being an American. But I am glad that you were enjoying things. I'm glad that you got a good break. It's always nice to get that time off to just unwind. So, where last we left off, we had all of the minis based. We've got, except his base itself, and Simos. Duo Maxwell here from an early 90s or mid 90s Gundam kit. We've got a 3D printed on a filament printer Combat Doggo. And then we got the previous edition of my current Friday night game character. Let's get that light angled a little better. all prepared to throw down with a pistol he no longer actually has. But I built the model, I'm painting the damn model. No one can stop me, not even myself, even though I do a very good job at it under normal circumstances. And so I remembered something from last time that I had learned when I started using wet palettes, especially ones I 3D printed myself, and that is, don't leave them wet for an extended period. This one seals okay because it's, not sure if you can tell, it's all shiny and off-colored in corners and such because I sealed it with resin. Some defunct 3D printer resin that's still good for sealing stuff. So this is all seals nicely and will probably be okay left on its own. The big one, though, is currently drying because it started to turn black on the inside from just sitting around. And, like, the black spots on this are just... That's because I used black paint. I checked it. Still got a tiny bit of work left over to do. Gotta draw the AC Milan badge. Italian soccer team. And some other thing to do with circles and tangents. Fun. No, I don't think I ever asked you, Baguette, what you actually do aside from be awesome. I take it you're in graphic design? We are starting with a fresh palette. I do want to do a little bit of touch-up on the doggo, so I need to find that brown I was using earlier. That thing needs to move further away. Probably should unplug it, but... The good news is it looks like it's not being picked up by the microphone. But, somebody commissioned my brother to make them a paint mixer, paint shaker. Teacher's a dick. It's technical graphics. Ah, technical graphics. Okay. And sorry you got a dickhead teacher. But they commissioned him to make a paint shaker out of an old saber saw they had that was broken as fuck. So he fixed the wiring and then pulled the button. It's not even a trigger, it's a thumb button. And attached a paint mixer head to it. But it's really kind of loud. So while it doesn't bother me, and I'm glad it doesn't pick up on the microphone, it scares the crap out of their cats. And meanwhile, Blitz is just looking over at me annoyed that I woke him up, but he's fine. So they gave it back, even though they commissioned him to make it. And he didn't want the damn thing, so guess he got a free paint mixer. He's in his 70s, old school kind of guy. Oof. Yeah, those, old school types can be a pain in the ass. Was it you? I think it was you. It's also not the absolute best design, but... I mean, considering it's made out of a saw... And y'all probably aren't hearing that until I play it, until I speak. I like the fact that he was concerned about it, so he put emergency straps on it. So it doesn't just yeet a bottle at somebody. There's one lad who won't do fuck all in the class. He's normally in a bit of a bad mood. It's rough when some dick decides to make things harder by pissing off the teacher for no reason. It's like, bro, if you want to fail, that's fine. That's your call. By all means, fail. But don't make everybody else's life more difficult because you decided you woke up and chose douchebaggery. I say as the like edgy dickhead in junior college who did that. But I was doing it to a teacher who was defending slavery, so whatever. Just, fine point and just scrubbing out. Chasing them details that I told you not to. But in some cases, especially around eyes, it gets extremely finicky. Because the slightest spattering is going to throw everything off. There we go. Eyes are more closed, more focused. Less derp. Do I have anything else I want to clean up on this with this while I have it out? And a little bit here and there. Like, some cleanup is always fine, it's just don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And don't also think that, you know, your perfect is perfect because you're human and thus it's not. Once you realize you will never reach perfection because you're a flawed mammal with a out-of-date brain case, or brain sitting in a body not designed to live as it does, things actually get a little bit easier. Hey, Joe, welcome in. And also M, darling, welcome in. We are painting minis. We are picking up where we last left off with Duo Maxwell, this 3D printed dog that came off my filament printer, and version 2.0 of Simo Qualish, my gnome artificer. It was now outdated. We're already on to 2.5. Need to be making dinner soon. Go! Don't hesitate to go make dinner. Consume. 2 in the morning for a baguette. Yup. Now, I may be, for those who have not been in the workshop with me before, I may be a little bit delayed on my responses because the layout of this is... I keep working on it and it never gets better, it just gets less terrible. And then I find, oh, I've saved enough space, I can put this thing in here, like the paint shaker. So I can use it. But now the layout's terrible again. It's a vicious cycle. So I'm kind of, like, over here is a Chromebook. I've got my own stream up on muted, so I can watch my own chat. And then way over there on the wall, 10 feet from me, or 8 feet, actually 10 feet, because it's about an 8-foot section, is a 1080p monitor. Well, actually, not even real 1080p, but a monitor that I'm watching my OBS on, so I can see what you guys are seeing. My layout is functional, which is surprising considering how much I am not. But don't you dare say it's beautiful, darling. You're beautiful. I also added a couple of variations on Darlin to the Darlin counter. Darling. I said darling. 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 You need to figure out what it thinks sounds like. You do what you want. Yeah, I'm not your supervisor. What the fuck do I know? Let's see here. Do I want to do a little small amount of touch-up on Duo's face bits? Because as I fixed the skin tone, I got a little bit onto his hair. Yeah, pretty much anytime you see my two hands on camera at the same time, I'm probably not looking at chat, but will be in a moment, and I'm extremely paranoid that I'm missing something. Oh, I need to get some flesh. I just noticed this one he actually has 2 ears. Goodness me. I did not spot that the first time because the casting is so terrible. Getting your mother's hand-me-down laptop, which is a huge improvement over your 3-year-old broken screen tablet, which you're on currently. Cider, darling, welcome in, welcome in. Darling. It's working a bit better. And yes, models! Painting! Supremacy. What color was he? He was really fucking pale, if I recall.
I'm in danger!
There is no danger here. This is not a video game. Though that does mean that if you die here, you die in real life. Much like in Canada. This is skin tone over here. I think it was something. You might have been peachy flesh. Let's go with peachy flesh because it's a very small correction nobody's going to notice. And now I don't talk while this goes. That way you don't hear it, as far as OBS is telling me. Although the model freaks the fuck out because it runs on a different track. Oh, and I broke the paint shaker. Easy fix. It was literally a 3D printed component that I disagree with the alignment on that print. Just a little spot of flesh. Just a little flesh as a treat. But, Dread, darling, you have been following for 38 days, have you? That is fantastic. I didn't even know I had a thing that does that. Fantasticer! You have been with me for over a month. That seems nuts. Wanted to see what the thing did. Saw while looking at your channel that you recently streamed Yakuza 0. How far? Just started chapter 2? Kiryu has left the Yakuza and met up with a one-handed twink who may in fact be a fae, we're not sure, who offered him a deal of a lifetime, and Kiryu, being dumb as toast, said no. Also, Kiryu has still not killed anybody, despite literally slamming somebody's spine first into a railing, and knocking somebody into a wall with a bike, and then smashing the guy's face into that wall. Because Kiryu does not kill. But no, we played exactly 1 session so far. I'm really enjoying it, enough that I'm having to dust off my controller because holy crap am I not wanting to do that. Sulfurish, welcome in, Sulfur darling. That's here. Seems like a lot longer. Time is strange, very strange. The entire franchise is good, so fucking good. That's what I heard, and a friend of mine gifted me my copy of Zero, saying it was a good entry point, and then from there I can check out options for how to proceed, but there's like different lists. Gotta go shower, but lovely and sport lurk. Thank you for the lurk, and enjoy your moistness. You're probably already in the shower. Yeah, no killing, despite all the blood. Indeed. Found a peculiar man with an eye patch, you'll fall in love with him. Everyone falls in love with Redacted. We're talking about the guy in the snakeskin suit with a John Wick level of obsession. Because I do know things about the Yakuza franchise. I had seen Kiara of Halloween play a bit of it here and there. I think I need to get Simo's skin again. This is actually not his color. Cool. Well, it is now. And I followed an artist who was, well, she's very big into manly guys doing manly things in general, but also in turning that on its head by making manly men do actual manly things, like be supportive. And humble and all that good stuff. Really great artist. In fact, well, she had a webcomic at thepunchlineismachismo.com, I believe it is. I'm gonna not continue to paint that because I do like his original skin color. Kelly Turnbull was a great artist and big into the Yakuza franchise and pretty much anything with very, very manly people. Fuck, he goes, Kiryu-chan! Sunburn from the City of Brass is probably faded by now. I mean, technically he was wearing his plate armor at that time, so it was 3.0. This would have been his, the sunburn from having been exposed to horrific levels of radiation in, Old Man Qualish's reactor and laboratory, as well as, stealing several nuclear devices to plant around, the Vodendad on Maga. The sunburn from the City of Brass probably also faded, but let me think. What color did I go with him on? I think it was one of the beiges I have in my yellows, which I need to redo the organization, because, like, let's just pop you off here real quick. I've got my browns to yellows, or browns to beiges to yellows, and then I've got my purple to pink, but some of these pinks should be in with the beiges. And I think, honestly, I should have many of my pinks over with my reds and oranges, like red, orange, then pink. But it's all out of sorts. I vaguely know where shit is, though. Hello, Bits. Meow. You want to come a little bit closer because you're stupid and I can grab you? Yes, you do. Ah! Okay. I have cat. Come on. Come on. Look at chat. Say hi to chat. You are not liking this at all. Okay, boo-boo. You go away. Well, that was your cat cam for today. Sorry, folks. Right. I actually owe some packs. Anon got 3 packs out of me, and then our darling Dread re-upped. So got a pack of Kamigawa to open. We will go through these while I try to remember what shade of pink he was. Oh, smell, they're all hung upside down like that. Yeah, it helps keep them... Well, it gives me a broader surface to apply a color to have an example of it. Like, if you look right here, you can see that this orange has a splotch of orange on it. You'd be surprised to find out that is the color of orange in that bottle. Of orange. That way I know exactly what it looks like, being on a neutral background, without any issues of reflectivity. Recommend a game for you. It's Turnip Commits Tax Evasion. You know, that was actually looking... Oh, how I had the camera upside down. Fair. Turnip Commits Tax Evasion looks pretty good. It mostly just looks fun because Doppel playing it makes... Doppel makes anything look fun. Let's see here. But I am interested. What is our token? Is a samurai.
What a darling!
Oh. Thank you, David126771, for following and becoming a darling of the fluff pile. Please don't be a bot. But welcome in. Let's see here. What would be our land? I'm gonna go with forest, because I like the forest cards. Nope, island. But very pretty island. Got Origami Crane, which is interesting. And then we've got another automated artificer. Replacing artificers with robots that do artifice is a bad idea. That's how you get Skynets. Do you want Skynets? That's how you get Skynets. Did Doppel play? Didn't know who weren't around. Yeah, was playing it Monday and Tuesday. Because Monday is tax day. Was tax day in the States. Got a mnemonic sphere. I had not watched much of her Tuesday stream. I was kind of wrapped up in work. It's standard draw some cards, but looks cool. Got Fox McCloud. I mean, Kitsune Ace. But I mean, look at that. It's a Fox fighter pilot. Pretty fucking clear what that is. Kami of Industry. The spirit of capitalism, right there. Pretty cool looking. Gross. I think I've seen this guy in Elden Ring. Kami of Terrible Secrets. Pretty terrible stuff right there. Another Sneck Archer. Gotta love them Sneck Archers. Let's see here. Enjoy your lurk, darling Dread. Dokuchi Shadow Walker. An Ogre Ninja. The idea of an Ogre Ninja is hilarious to me. And it just straight up is ninjutsu, so it drops for a reduced price and is a 5/5, so that's kind of cool. Most of the ninjas, when they have ninjutsu, do a thing when they first appear on the battlefield, so they're like a surprise. That one's just the surprise is it's a 5/5 that pops out of nowhere. Moon Snare Specialist. Another one of them shiny blue hacker ninjas. In fact, it, for example, enters the battlefield, return up to one target creature to its owner's hand. Ogre Ninja rep. Go Ninja, go Ninja, Ogre. Ogre Ninja, Ogre Ninja, Ogre. I'm gonna stop that right now. The Aki Ronin. A Samurai Goblin. I don't know, man. Goblins, Samurais, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Doesn't seem like something that'd be really cool. Or it'd be entirely too badass. And you'd have to, like, catch it in an ambush, nerf its intelligence, and then just beat it to death. Default, or your token Warring States era reference. Hobgoblin Samurai is much better indeed. Which turns into the Nameless Conqueror. Who is absolutely not Aku. A Hotshot Mechanic pilot. Hotshot Mechanic cruise vehicles as though it were power 2 greater. So that's cool. And it's a cutie. But I mean it's a fox pilot. Web spinner cuff. Neat art. Uncommon of Nami Pillar of Order, which is a Legendary Human Advisor. Whenever it attacks, if you control an artifact and enchantment, create a 2/2 white samurai with token with vigilance. Nice! And then our rare is the Brilliant Restoration, which looks like an alternate art card too. Return all artifact and enchantment cards from the graveyard to the battlefield. Oh! That's some powerful stuff right there. Now, Hobgoblin Samurais at least make more sense. They're tall enough to use a katana. So thank you, M-Dread, for those cards. I do love me a Fox McCloud reference. Our token for this pack from Anon is a placeholder, and it's island, so I'm still gonna say forest. Nope. Really cool looking swamp. Gonna go sleepy now as you've been running around 6 hours sleep today. Have fun. We'll see if we have another chance to join the stream in the future. Good night, everybody. Baguette, darling, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining the Fluff Pile and for even showing up. You consume rest. And enjoy the rest of your night. Get some sleep. Touch grass, but, you know, in your dreams. Thank you for coming by. We got ourselves a Thundersteel Colossus, great big honkin', tramply, hasty Mega Mech, another Artificer, dynamic entry, explosive entry, does its red, so there's gotta be something that destroys shit and boosts stuff. A Virus Beetle. Talk about bugs in your software. Jeez. A Greater Tanuki, which is a Tanuki about the size of 4 bears. So there's really no messing around with that Tanuki. That Tanuki gonna screw you up. Saiba Trespassers with their moth nets. It's a Moonfolk Ninja that does not have ninja, but looks pretty cool. Yet another Moth Rider. Discord link. Yeah! Let's see here. Messages. Discord. Boop! There you go, darling. Feel free to join us. We are starting to hang out more in the VC. Just earlier today, our darling Cider was hosting a game of Ameritruck. Well, I was playing Ameritruck, and we were all just hanging out and chatting before stream. It was fun, because Cider is fantastic. You are welcome, darling. And consume sleep. Voltage Surge, because it's a cheap red card, so it's gotta have lightning in it. Twisted Embrace, which we've seen a couple times. Neat little Evil Samurai card. Michiko's Reign of Truth. It turns into a portrait of Michiko. I'm mispronouncing that. That's okay, this isn't real Japanese, this is vague Orientalism. The Selfless Samurai, I think this is the first time for him. Or them. 2/2, whenever Samurai or Warrior attacks alone, it gains lifelink. Sacrifice Selfless Samurai, another target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Neat. The Goshiunti of Lost Wisdom, a legendary enchant creature shrine. Boy, they're really getting good with those word salads now. Flying, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay colorless. When you do, target player mills X, where X is the number of shrines you control. Jeez. The Goshiunti of Ancient Wars, another legendary enchantment creature shrine. Has first strike, and pay 1. At your end step, it deals X damage to target player or planeswalker, where X is the number of shrines. Neat. And our legendary, or our rare, is Satoru Umizawa. Some good fucking art right there. The object source lighting on it really works well. He is a human ninja. Whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand, the rest on the bottom. This ability triggers only once per turn, and each creature in your hand has ninjutsu. 1 black, 1 blue, 2 any. So that's cool. That instantly turns all of your creatures into baby ninjas. I will never get comfortable on this goddamn stool, I tell you what. Let's, I think I need to get back to the paint. I think I need to do a touch more cleanup. Yeah, because there's some... It's hard to tell, but there's... a forelock in there, and I need to clean up around his eyes. Okay. Good enough. Handy thing about this model of Duo is that he's really low detail and low quality, so we can fuck it up a bit. Okay. I was just checking something. Let's work on the doggo, because I'm curious what happens when I just take this 3D printed doggus and hit it with some ink wash. I don't see great things coming out of this, but there is potential. Where'd my Grabby boy go? There you are. Oh yeah, got me, Grabby boy. Let's see here. Grab that Agrax Earthshade. Which, as much as I hate to give them any money whatsoever, I do have to hand it to Citadel Paints. Their technical paints are well worth it. And their washes among their technical paints, or shades they call them, are really, really good. Although I'm not sure how much the Agrax is actually going to pick up on this dark brown doggo. Let's see. Oh. That actually works extremely well in the dark brown doggo. There are a couple of ways you can apply a wash, which wash or shade is a thin, transparent paint of some type. Usually it's similar to whatever the rest of the line does. And it's very thin like an ink, or thinner than ink sometimes. And the whole point of it is to get into the nooks and crannies and sort of highlight the deep lines, so that it shows a little bit of an inflated sense of depth to the model. In this case, it's actually working really well because it's not getting into the filament lines, which are a little too fine for it. It's sticking to the printed lines, which means that it's actually giving more validity to the model. It's highlighting what it should. Got a little bit on the metal there, but that's fine. And not what it shouldn't, which really helps separate out the details that are there, making it look even better than it would without it, or even better than it would if it was not a printed model, if it was a purchased model. There's a couple ways you can do this. One is to do what I did and just cover the areas that are the color you need to modify. And it goes into the cracks and crannies. And the other is to, and you cover the whole section. It tints everything, it'll darken everything, which is something you gotta look at. Like, that dog is now darker all around. But the other option is to carefully apply it with a fine pointed brush into the cracks and crevices directly, basically like you would a paint, except it's going to highlight around the crack a bit, darkening that, making the crevasse look even darker by comparison to the relatively bright unshaded paint. Yeah, Agrax Earthshade. I'm also using it on Duo's hair. Trying not to use it on Duo Maxwell's skin. But we shall see how well I do there. Personally, I factor for it causing a tint and darkening the tone of the material I'm painting, of the section I'm painting, and work off of that, because then I can take a color I like, put a base tone of it, darken it all with this, and then go back through and use the base color again to help build highlights. Which will return it closer to the original color without necessarily being all that color. And sometimes if you have a color that's too bright, all you really need to do is shade it. I think that's all the Agrax I'm going to use for now. So we'll get this one put up. And then we will grab the...
Let's go!
Let's go! Probably my most used, or second most used, is the Nuln Oil Gloss. I got the gloss on accident because they were out of the regular Nuln Oil wash, which I did not notice. But it actually works really well for things like metal, because it leaves it looking kind of shiny and wet. And if you're wanting to add detail that looks damp, like if you're painting something that is in the rain or has been drowned, I know some of my options that I mentioned are always kind of morbid, but like, I'm painting D&D minis. You usually don't get to be a happy character if you're in a D&D mini. Especially in my games. But it gives it a wetter, shinier look, being a gloss coat, which you can also take down with a dry brushing very easily. But in this case, I want that oiled metal look, because this is plate armor that's going onto a doggo. So it's having to, it's going to be absorbing some oils from the dog's fur to begin with. But it's also having to resist the effects of being on a sweating combat doggo for an extended period of time. So it's going to be oiled metal. You know, I think I am actually going to change this midsection from metal to cloth. But it just picks up on those details. Highlights them well enough the camera is showing them. And then largely you keep it off of the broad surfaces or brush it away from the broad surfaces, sort of guide it elsewhere, and you aren't going to end up with odd stains, but will instead have just some very well-defined details. Don't go to sleep, tablet. Or a computer. And this is also just an easy-peasy way of doing your shading. Now, eventually, sometime, when I have some less huge and/or detailed and/or poorly detailed models, something in an appropriate baseline I can do some tutorials with, like if I break out some skeletons, I do want to show how to hand shade. Because hand shading is an important skill. It is very good to good to know. And really, it's not that hard. But it's not as easy as brush some wet shit onto metal or onto surface, let wet shit dry, instant detail. Which actually, let me apply some of this to the hand and see if that... Oh no, this won't darken the hand, but if I grab the Agrax, that'll take the hand down a little bit. But let's give that a moment to dry. I was gonna say I have nothing that I want to Nuln Oil on Duo, but I do. I just don't want to use Nuln Gloss. I don't see any reason why any part of him is going to be particularly shiny. So we get that put up and grab the standard Nuln Oil, of which I have multiple bottles because I used all the time. And what I'm going to use this on is going to be basically all the rest of him, but mostly his suit to take it from that dark brown to a black. Keeping off the flesh, because I think I'm going to Nuln the flesh. Nuln is good for skin tones and browns you want to keep brown. Meanwhile, this is a brown I want to darken to a black tone. There is such a thing as too much on a shading coat, but it's really one of those things you will end up figuring out pretty quickly and get a feel for. Says the guy who hasn't done it in a while and is very out of practice. In this case, there's not a whole lot I can say that's particularly too much, because I need to make sure that he's properly darkened so that he's closer to black than to this extremely dark brown that he is. And one of the reasons why I chose this extremely dark brown is so I can do that. I can darken him to a black. Oh, got some on his neck there. On his cheeky beaky. Okay. Then we will apply the Nuln to... This is the... Again, the non-glossy Nuln Oil. applying it to all of the surfaces we want to shade that do not have to be... Thank you, Jacrosto. Do you believe in him? Do you believe that little in him? You pretty sure he's gonna die next session? I mean, he's at least gonna lose a limb from the sounds of things. But the surfaces here do not need to be shiny, but they do need to be shaded. I chose a color that's a little bit lighter than I wanted, so that I could darken it. Because I'm smart like that. I will use that on the fire and magic energy. What that's also going to do is that's going to help me lay out smoke, because with the fire, I'm actually not wanting the dark bits in. The dark bits should be out, because the brightest part of the fire is the center. Similar with the magic, but what this is helping me do is sort of visualize how the smoke should lay out, so that I got a better feel for that. It's also taking a little bit of the brightness down on the blue, because it's pretty poppin'. Yeah. Alright, got some Critical Role to watch, but you'll lurk here. Have a great rest of your stream. Thank you, darling. Enjoy your high product value or high production value D&D group. I had a strong feeling I was not going to see you or Grey Death Legion here for much longer. I don't even think I saw Grey here today. Staring to Travis Willing in his dreamy eyes. Fair? And while those are drying, because some of them get a little bit thicker of a coat than others, Mr. changing his entire color. Let's crack another pack from Anon. Willingham. That guy from The Thing, you know, The Thing and the guy. And we've got, for our token, it is a Rat Rogue. A Rat Rogue. We've had blue, we've had black. Let's go with plains. Oh, they got me. They got me. It's a dual land. It's a dual land. Got another Thundersteel Colossus. Focus, damn you. Eh. Camera's being a butt. Okay. Got a short circuit. Always fun when you got a short circuit. Some ancestral weeb blades. That's an interesting one. Simian Sling. Thought a Simian Sling was a mixed drink, but apparently it is an equipment monkey. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever Simian Sling or equipped creature becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to defending player. Neat. And it's a 1/1. It's a equipment monkey. It's kind of cool. I do like the equipment creature rule. Reckoner's Bargain. Kind of very diabolic. The Bearer of Memory. Very pretty art. The anime art for the Seven-Tail Mentor. Very cool looking. Jukai trainee. Maybe a trainee now, but they're aiming for Grand Hokage. The Tale of Master Seshiro, which turns into Seshiro's Living Legacy. An Azumi Prowler, a rat ninja. I also like the fact that black gets were-rats for ninjas, or rat folk ninjas. Kohime, darling, welcome in, welcome in. I'm just working on package 2 of 3 of Anonymous's cards. We already opened Dread's cards. Discover the impossible. Do the impossible. Reach the unreachable. Row, row. End your turn now. The malicious malfunction, as opposed to all those benevolent malfunctions. Somebody's magic cyber arm is really messing up there. Takenuma, the abandoned mire. Do not pick the glowing flowers. Just don't pick the glowing flowers. That was our rare, and then for our special we've got the foil art card of Blossoming Prancer. Tree Deer. It's actually some really good art. I hate the fact that it's a reflective card. When Blossom Prancer enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in random order. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, gain 4 life. Neat. So thank you, Anonymous, for giving us a cursed land and a very pretty deer. I just slap the microphone again. Now, one thing I will say about the Nuln Oil gloss is it's really hard to tell when it's dry because it's Nuln Oil and gloss. Let's go with, I think on this guy, let's go with a medium blue, something fairly regal, something close to Simo's pants. Let's do you. I think you are actually probably the exact same color. Nope, you are dusty. Oh no, you're ultramarine blue. So you are the correct color. Okay. Oh wow, it actually picked up that time on the microphone. Sorry guys. Tease out a little bit of that ultra blue. And get you put back where you belong. There we go. So how are things going tonight, Kohime darling? Wait, 17 already? Nice. We're just going to take this blue. Normally, you don't want to have to redo a color already because you're going to be drowning out some details with... You have the potential, I should say, of drowning out details with each layer. However, the advantage here is this is a crappy miniature I printed on my 3D printer. So, joke's on you, it doesn't have all that much detail to lose. And also another reason why you want to use thin layers when painting. Thin your paints so that if you fuck up, you can repaint and it's fine. You can touch up, you can go over it. Okay. Pinch him back down, let that dry. And then let's grab the Agrax again, because I didn't get everything I need to with the Agrax the first time. Come here, you. So let's just carefully Agrax up. Ah! Emdred, darling, thank you for the biddies. I have a TTS if you wanted to say something smarmy.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise indeed, honestly. Always surprised when people throw bits at my face. They bounce and get everywhere, but that's fine. Now you want to be careful when applying shades to flesh, because flesh is a very, or at least Caucasian flesh is a very thin color. It's super easy for you to wash detailing out, or just make it look like he's all filthy as fuck. Indeed, Kohime, thank you for the surprise. Motherfucker. That is 100% accurate. Bother. I'm going to have to find the correct skin tone on Simo again. I think it was something close to peachy. I got nothing on the doggo to Agrax up, so call it good there. But I will leave you out, because I'll have to Agrax that hand once I can find your correct color. I don't think it was Golden Shadow, was it? I think it was Golden Shadow, actually. The advantage is a lot of these were faced properly when I last touched them, so any of the ones that are new or that I've used recently, are facing the wrong way. Unfortunately, not all of them, but sometimes it's enough to go, yeah, it was that one. I'm going to mute for a sec since the mic does occasionally pick up the paint mixer. And it is a mighty paint mixer. I mean, it's a saber saw that got turned into a paint mixer. You know what? I don't think... I think it wasn't Golden Shadow. I think it was Golden Skin Tone. So it'd be up a little bit. What are you? No. Had to have been one of these skin tones over here. Really need to sort this shit out again. Is it Rosie? Well, Rosie's gonna be at least closer. This is way too overpowered for a fucking paint mixer. I'll put pictures in the chat in a bit. Probably after stream. Pictures in the fluff pile. It also shows you the level of over-engineering you can do to accomplish something rather simple. In the most overblown way possible. It's not Rosie. It'll darken with the Agrax. Let's take some of this brown here I used to correct the dog to get the basing done. He's obviously standing on some sort of dirt or rubble, and I think easy answer is going to be to make it sort of an earthy mud and go over it with a heavy dry brushing of gray to add some rock detailing. So it's like a rocky, muddy, general outdoorsy surface. Could also easily be done in green, to sort of show as a unkempt field. But the brown's already out. So, fuck it. And let's do, since it's already out, let's get Duospace in it too. It's the best color for the job. What makes it the best color? It's the one that I have out already. Bases are pretty easy. Bases are uncomplicated. They are... At least they oftentimes are, because they're usually just a flat surface the model was put on. And it's find a primary color you want, paint it that way, call it good. Usually you do the base last. Because you're going to slur paint onto it from doing a lot of other things. Okay. It's been an hour and 15 already, so we are a third to halfway through. Well, those things dry. Well, let me see here. Dog's blue is dry, so let's get another layer. What the dog blew in? And then we'll pop the last pack of Anon's cards. Let things dry, stand up for a moment. And then come up with a war plan. I think we need to dry brush the doggo. And call it good. I'll get to show y'all how to dry brush. Spoiler alert, you're not using this one, because this one's way too nice. Dry brushing is hell on a brush. In fact, probably one of the best dry brushes out there. Small makeup brush. I find them smaller than this. Yeah. But lots of teensy tiny fine bristles. Keeps a good shape. And it's used for applying dry or semi-dry cosmetics, so makes sense. Token is a spirit. Spooky. I'm wrong, so let's go with forest again. Plains. But it's got cherry blossom spirits rolling around it, so that's cool. And then we've got a dramatic puppet. Well, dramatist puppet, but it can't be a dramatic puppet. Can't be a dramatist puppet without being dramatic. Spell Pierce. Looks neat. Oh, you thought you could contain me? Nope. A network disruptor. Those darn Moonfolk rogues again. Yet another best boy. Gotta have the best boy. Another Kindled Fury. With all that DACA. Reckoner Shakedown with all that hard to figure out what the fuck's happening. But it looks like a face, probably. Fade into Antiquity. So we've got the Breath of the Wild reference. Guardians of Aboro. Moonfolk Samurai. Modified creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have Defender. And it's a Defender. The Intercessor's Arrest. Wrap them up in paperwork. Focus, it's good artwork. Focus, damn you, it's good artwork. Show chat. There we go. Magical paperwork. I mean, me whenever I'm in your DMs. Behold, the unspeakable! Unrelated. Vision of the unspeakable. So many ways you can meme that. So many ways you could meme that. Goshintai of Hidden Cruelty. A black shrine that destroy target creature with toughness X or less, where X is the number of shrines. A rabbit battery, giggity. I mean, looks pretty cool, really. Is explosive bun bun. Haste, equipped creature has +1/+1 haste, so, yeah. A containment construct is our uncommon, or one of our uncommons. Some more of that overly difficult to pick up on details neon art, but just enough to say you can see it's a robot. And the rare is Invoke Calamity. Top end red instant. You may cast up to 2 instant and or sorcery spells with a total mana of 6 or less from your graveyard and or hand without paying the mana costs. If those spells would be put into the graveyard, exile them instead, and then exile Invoke Calamity. So basically a recast spell. Neat. I'm gonna stand up. I'm trying not to kill myself with Workshop Night because I want to be able to Workshop Night longer and more often. But I want to Workshop Night less if I wake up with my butt hurting and it not having been in a fun way. I'm actually gonna go turn the AC on. You might hear it in the background, but it's relatively quiet. It's, clouds did not thin out like they have been recently. Of course, I'm like wearing headphones this entire time over the headphones, so, or over ear headphones, so my head's getting boxed in. It's 80 degrees in here. I'm right by a sun lamp, or natural light bulb lamp, I should say. It's nice and toasty, is what I'm saying. Okay, I am back. Couldn't really keep away for long, could I? It's Agrax Simo's hand. And I might do a second shade to take it down a little darker. Wasn't too far off on my color on that, but still off. then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a lighter brown. So let's go with you. Yeah, see, oh no. Lighter than turkey brown. Get back there, turkey. There you go. You look a bit lighter. You are Adon Prairie from the Cav line. I think that'll work for... Oh no, that's probably too light, honestly. This is the hard part, is trying to get the next color you want to use in the set. Reaper actually helps solve this problem by selling their paints. And you can buy them individually, but they also are lined up on their website and sold in retail in what they call triads, which are, with the exception of specialist colors and such, when there's no real fit, they are a lighter shade, a darker shade, and a mid shade. Let's do that turkey brown, actually. And they are done that way so that you have a nice mix, so you can go with your shadow, your highlight, and your base coat. Let's get our paper towel ready. And let's get to some dry brushing. Okay. And we'll apply a spot of this. And dry brushing is... Tangential, what are the signs of betrayal? Signs of betrayal trauma, like how Google will not help you detect betrayal. It is... I like how Google will not help you detect betrayal. It is sus. I do not know what those telltale signs are, Kohime. I hope you are not having to deal with any sussy bakas. But with dry brushing, what you're going to do is you're going to take a brush that you do not care about, like these extremely cheap makeup brushes, which are designed for that. Designed for dry paints, basically. Or makeups, I should say. Cosmetics. Had to look up physical descriptions of behavior for writing. Okay. But you're going to apply just a little bit of paint to it, and then you're going to run it onto a disposable surface like this paper towel, and get the majority of the paint off. And all you're going to be left with is a light dusting of pigment. So we get our color on. And I'm just sort of spreading it around a little bit too. Yeah, just a little bit of it. And then you just, in a particular direction, go over the model. Go over where you want that highlighting to go. I think I needed to apply a little more there. And what that's going to do is it's going to hit all those high points and make them a little brighter. Now, this is extremely hard on a brush. Which is why I recommend using something like a makeup brush for it. Or a brush that you've already beaten to shit and you are using for... like, you're using it for priming and such. That color was way too close to the original, so it didn't really pick up much. All it did was take some of the shading, the dark shading, off of it. So, we are actually going to go up a couple steps. I wonder if these will ever dry. Or if they're like a chinchilla. I'll find out because I have multiple brushes. I'm betting that it's permanently damp. Permanently moist. That's okay. I also have these cheap acrylic brushes. You recognize this one. It's literally what I used it for doing basing with. But let's put up this brown. Stop rolling. I'm hating. Let's actually skip several shades up. That's almost an orange. Actually, that is probably miscategorized. I have a hard time telling browns apart, to be honest, probably because it's not a real color. It's a myth like Canada. There we go, that's significantly brighter, so it's going to be pretty obvious when I highlight with it. Okay, turning off. There we go. I think I should have clamped it in my heavy vise. Get this lighter shade in. This is Suntan Flesh. And with a cosmetic brush, a standard brush, you want to try and get it on there, but not too much, and then you just go until you've got just a wee bit there. And then the amount of highlighting it does depends on the amount of pressure you apply when you are applying it, and it almost immediately is making this doggo look better. It is very much a do a little bit, reapply paint, do a little bit, reapply paint. It's honestly, I'm not a big fan of dry brushing because of how wasteful it is paint-wise, and how random it can be, because I mean that's the point of it, is randomly scattering paint across sharper points and highlights or high points, but it's harder to predict what it's going to do. And again, this is enough paint to have based the model with it. Being applied to create highlights. It works really well, though. And that is the thing about dry brushing. That's why it's so popular, is just a little bit. You need to... It's tricky to overdo, but far from impossible. And boom, doggo done. Need to highlight the silver and the blue, which I also need to ink wash with not the Agrax, but I'll break out the Agrax again. So I want to get Simo's hand again because I chose the wrong color, and this is why you keep a color journal that has proper splotches of the colors with the names on them for important models, and I kind of have that, but I forgot to put the names, so I don't really have one that's super functional. But we got his hand again, and it's looking a lot closer. So we can put up the Agrax Earthshade. We can drop the Agrax Earthshade and be glad it's got a sturdy lid. We can drop it again directly onto the stack of magic cards, and again, bless the machine spirits for their sturdy pot design. Get the fuck up there and stay up there. We got the Nuln Oil. We got the Doggo. It's gonna darken the blue, which I did choose a darker blue to start with, so it's gonna be even darker. It's dark side of medium. This was not planned, so I didn't really think too hard on the blue. I just grabbed what looked good at the time. So this is going to look a little off until I dry brush it. But I'll give it a heavier dry brushing. And welcome back, darling. Welcome back, our dear Dread. It's going well. Kawahime is looking at betrayal responses for quote-unquote writing purposes. Hydration, 1 sec. Agrax back, or the Nuln Oil back up there. The Agrax is already up. Thank you for the hail hydration. We have sadly lost Joe to the vile darkness that is Matt Mercer. But that is okay. It was to be expected. He's a huge Critical Role fanboy. You feel a constant state of betrayal? Or do you feel evil all the time? I think you feel evil cackle all the time. That'd be my guess, but hard to say. I mean, I'm here for you either way, darling. If you need someone to help shake that sense of betrayal, I'm here. If you need somebody to be evil with, I'm here. Because it's so easy when you're evil. This is life, you see. The devil tips his hat to me. Ah! This jar can actually no longer be here. Sitting here thinking, why do some of those paints look distorted? Oh, I have a very clean glass jar there. Haha. Duh. Now, let's see here. Let's actually use the same brown to highlight, Actually, you know what? Let's not dry brush him. I'm going to show you how to highlight with brush on our dear God of Death here. So you don't want a lot of paint, just enough on the tip, just the tip. You want to consider the angle of the light and just run a slight amount over sections that'll be caught by the light. Just enough. Some people call this overbrushing to a degree. I disagree with the excessive nomenclature. Just because we got so many terms in painting as it is. Don't need to be adding more. Now this one's a bit tricky because the hair's pretty loose. So you don't want to get all of them everywhere, but just hit where the light would be going. And on this braid, it's actually pretty fun. This is a requires steady hand type thing. Even then, this is far from my best work doing this. And on tip tail where there's the frayed, well, not frayed because it's not rope, but the end of it. Just carefully get some of those lights. Not all of them, though. If you highlight every single high point on a miniature, what you end up with, and just notice he's got a hairband, because of course he would, at the very end, so I'm arbitrarily deciding that's blue. I don't think it was ever colored in the, or shown in the show, so it's blue now, because blue is the best color on the basis that blue is the one that's out. But if you highlight every single edge and sharp angle and deepen every single crease and fold, what you end up with is cell shading, which, if that is what you were going for, that is fine. Let nobody tell you otherwise. But that is what's happening. I'm just loosely doing the same thing with the base color on this model.
Fuck!
Hey, Raffi! Welcome in, dear Raffi. Hello, you. I think you missed it, but our darling Cider earlier today was playing Euro Truck Sim, and was in the VC playing Ameritruck Sim, which he prefers because he likes driving around our area, which is cool, but Europe looks cooler. And he and I were talking about doing a convoy over the weekend, maybe. Ah, your dad's in town. Well, tell your dad I said hi. Or not, if that would be weird for him to know. Not the first person to say, I can't really know you if, no offense. It's like, none taken. Your family's traditional. I'm an abomination. It's reasonable. I'm just using up the rest of this brown to make sure that the base is brown. No. Yep, fair enough. So, aside from Father being in town, how is our dear darling Raffi? 23 at... Oh my goodness, is it already almost 2 hours? Time flies in the workshop. I tell you what, this is relaxing and I love it. And that one queer friend of mine says hello. Also, I'm hanging out with queer people now. That's not a sign of anything, no. You could tell him I'm your token queer friend. Everybody has one. D&D is going good, and that's basically it. Well, D&D going good is good. How's classes, darling? From this range, on that monitor, the darling counter looks darker than it is. I think it's just that monitor's a little dark. It's going better? Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see here. I think what I want to do next is grab myself a medium gray. Let's see here, you're too brown, you are properly gray. Teacher gave bullshit grades. I have him shit. He raised my... You gave him shit, he raised your grades. Also your friend's grades. Hell yeah, Raffi! Any teacher who does that, oh, I marked you down to see if you would stand up for yourself thing, just fucking punch them. Actually, let's go with something darker than medium gray. Cloudy gray is a good one. But... where the fuck did that just come from? I think over here. This is going to be... smoke. So starting with a darker gray will help. Schwarzenwald gray. Yeah, my dad had one of those. You get a shit grade unless you argue for it when he was teaching. Or when he was learning to be a teacher. And I guess in that context, especially back in the 70s, it makes sense, but I'm muting for the paint shaker. Nice guy is just bad at teaching. Oof. He said something along the lines of I stand by this grade, but also don't care about that and respect you for coming to talk to me, so it's fine. Grade up. God. I don't think my wet palette's wet palette-y enough. So the downside on this small one as opposed to the big one is that it has basically a single sponge, which is a piece of chamois cloth. Whereas the other one had quite a bit of sponginess. This is also a dark enough gray that I can use it to lightly dust the shoulders and contours of our dear duo Maxwell. Just him being the kind of teacher that thinks grades are a dumb method of teaching makes me respect him a bit more. I mean, yeah. But that being said, grades are how the whole system works, so saying, oh, well, it's dumb and stupid, I don't like it, it's like, cool. You're fucking people over. I was about to ask what I pulled this gray for, but I don't think I even told you guys. Doing the smoke. Thinking... Start the spirals here. And it's just a light amount on the tip of the brush. And this. Oh. No, I mean, he said that if it mattered, he'd raise it. I said it did, and he raised it. Eh. I mean, yeah. Aha! Oh, fuck. Funny bone right on tiny vice. Oh, tiny, sharp, adorable vice, why have you betrayed me? Fuck a duck. Oh, that hurt. Oh, right on the not very funny, right on the irony bone. Oh.
Fuck!
Basically. Oh, I have tears in my eyes. I'm painting through the tears because I love my hobby. Painting through the tears. Are you painting through the tears? Trying not to cry. I don't actually have any more lyrics on that, so... You're welcome, I don't have any lyrics. Sorry, I'm not our darling cider, I can't think up songs on the fly like that. Ah! Look, the Vice thought it was funny, sadly the Vice is a jerk. Vice can go fucking none. Oh, I agree, and it's the elbow I have to lean on. And get to about the same point. And then this gray will darken down as I apply a darker color to it. This is more just marking it out so it's not any lighter color, so that if I overdo it, there we go. I can reverse it easily enough. Feed Gecko. Feed Gecko! Gecko, consume. Okay. I'm going to use the aforementioned overbrushing technique, which I really just think is a highlighting technique. Especially in this case, it's more akin to pinstriping. To just take the edge of the brush, running it over the surface of these kanji. Actually, this is katakana. To pick it out in a dark gray so it shows up, but isn't too obvious. Without applying so much paint has to be a problem, because as you push down and separate out the as you press down with the paintbrush, you're separating out the fibers, causing them to splay out. This causes it to release the paint via capillary action, or really inverse capillary action, since it's the reverse of how the capillary action gets the paint into the belly, into the middle of it, the brush. Yep, Raffi was here first. It's very clear. Also, I'm going to reduce the pricing on first, second, and third by a good bit. So Raffi, you were the last expensive first. And what that has done, and I might have used a brighter color, trying to get it to show. There we go, you can see that kanji at his feet, or katakana at his feet. And it's picked up a little bit because it's a medium to dark gray on a brown background, so it is noticeable, but not too noticeable. And then let's go ahead and while that smoke layout is drying, let's get a little bit more paint on the brush and pick out all those juicy detail lines on Darling Duo. Now, this is a lot more controllable, but it's also more difficult than dry brushing. If you do it wrong, it very obviously looks like you just ran a paintbrush over the model. Dry brushing, if you do it wrong, it mostly looks like either it's too dry and it looks like you have a very dusty model, or it's too heavy, in which case it just looks like you need to do a dry brush on your model, which is easily fixed by just applying another lighter dry brush. need to invest in a much better camera. Something I could record videos with, so that I've got a higher quality camera for these shots too. This is ultimately just a webcam. And it's a noticeable, yes. Like dry humping. No. Not like dry humping at all, darling. Let's get these racing stripes of his. And his belt. Raffi has been falling for 2 months, 1 week, 4 days, 44 minutes, 31 seconds. No way, it's only been 2 months. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, bro. Follow age, don't lie. Oh? Inquiring minds want to know, Raffi. Whatever could have happened. Those back bootstraps. There was a moment when I accidentally unfollowed and refollowed right back, and it reset the thing. Sounds about right. You know what? Let's, since the application is so small, I'm pretty sure his racing stripes are dry already. So let's do another layer on them to really pick them out. So they are one of the good details on this model. And back here on the belt where it meets the hand, and I over painted with the hand of it. There! You need to redo his eyes, but let's see if we can get this to pick up. I don't think the camera's going to track well enough to see the details, But I will not rest until I get a good camera to track it. I just realized. He's got a nice crease going on that I can highlight lightly. Which, since this is the hand highlighting model, I should look around for some other details I can do. Right there. And get my brush wet real quick, because I overdid it over here. I'll take some of that shit off. Nope, it's already dry. This is that thin of a coat of paint. Ah, yeah. I do not know the latest followers extension myself. Okay. Now, let's dry brush the dog's metal. Surprisingly, not much changes from the original recipe dry brushing on this. Let's just find one that's brighter and apply her. In this case, I am going to go with a thicker paint. I do have the thin paints from the Mecha line that I normally like because you don't have to thin them. They're perfect for metal, but thicker ones are going to be better for dry brushing. 1 second. Okay. And I got this, plata, silver. It's just silver. But it's an extremely silvery silver. One of the silveriest silvers I've ever silvered. And then with the doggo here, what I could actually do is detail brushing. I think I want to try the cosmetic brush again. Not quite. I go to beat up brush. Nope, not quite. Let's actually go ahead and use a detail brush. Okay, and it's just a matter of getting all of these raised sections. Which the dry brushings did apply silver. I just don't think they did a good enough job, which is mostly due to the topology of this model. It's very abnormal. Had my first 5 timeouts on November 16th. Pretty sure that was like first or second stream you caught. Taking that as follow-versary. So we are 5 months last week. Oh. Fantastic, darling. 5 months already. And yeah, I think you were timed out on your very first stream. I'll also use this to sort of draw an artificial line, because this is not ultimately a rump plate, it's just a printing error on his butt, because I realize he was printed tilted up. But let's go ahead and draw an artificial border and make that look more like a butt plate. There we go. Okay, and then I slurred a little bit onto a little spot on the back of his neck. If it was lower down, it wouldn't matter, but... up top, it's going to be kind of noticeable, so I'll just patch that a bit. And get a couple of other highlight points here and there that the quick and easy dry brushing failed to get. Yeah. Okay. "156 days, 20 days younger than Koahime, aka the Princess Carp. Princess Carp. No idea, darling. You lost me there. And let's grab a much brighter blue. What are you? Tropical blue. Uses hydro pump. Yeah. That'll work. That's a stark contrast. And what I will do is I will blue his blue with that. Who would have thought a freaking saber saw has so much oomph to it, right? Carp Princess, wrong reading. It may be the wrong reading, but it's the weeb reading. And that's what matters. Okay. Let's start with just grabbing them highlights. Oh yeah, especially as a single layer, this is... going to work really well. Just slapped the two words you knew. I thought the two words you knew were baka and hentai. Okay. There we go. Certainly a good enough for government work. Up close it does not look great, but neither does the model. It's, again, a filament printed doggo. Wikipedia says it's love princess, but carp princess tickles you more. You also know otaku. Someday you plan on being one. Till then, you're just a fucking weeb. I need to grab some not quite white. Let's see, I believe it was bleached linen last time. Yep, because the bottle's clean. Yee. Take photos of the paint shaker too, because I'm quite impressed by my brother's work, even though it is absolutely overkill. Eh. Let's get that white thinned out a bit. And let's try for the white of the eye again. I honestly recommend eyes be basically the last thing you do, because they are such small details that can be easily completely avoided by a dry brushing, like right there, or by going back and correcting paint, like right here. This eye is not as well formed as the other one, so don't really have guide points to go by. I mean, I didn't say darling, but okay. That time I did. So the bottom half of his eye, his left, is free-handed. And let's get his collar again, because it got dirty from the, it got dirty in the wash. Yeah. And I'm actually gonna call him good. He done. Well, let me take some of this. Not quite the brown of his hair, because I think it was that. But just a little bit of it, and take down some of these details I drew in. Because some of the lines are a bit broad. And by applying another color that's sort of a color in between the colors, just here and there, it also works to add some depth.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
And his cousin?
He's an asshole, too, sir. Gunner's mate, first class, Philip Asshole.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? Yo! I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
You have yourself a lovely night, Kohime. Thank you for joining us. Get some sleep. Consume rest. Or, sorry, I read that backwards. Yep, my bad. You don't know the difference between Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter? Shut up. Fuck off. Fake nerd. Or was that Waterdeep? You're Waterdeep. Turns out I'm a fake nerd too. Yep, it was Baldur's Gate, bitch. Also, don't have Wi-Fi here. Drained a gigabyte of my data already, so peace. Playing Spaceballs. Okay. Rafi, you have yourself a good night. And let me know if you want to Ameritruck Sim or Eurotruck Sim over the weekend. I might be able to be split away from my duties to trying to perfect my graphics to do some truckage. Consume rest. Consume Wi-Fi. Gonna stream trucking on Discord? Probably, actually. I don't think I'm gonna be doing streaming through, I don't think I'm gonna set up a stream specifically. But if we do Convoy, I will probably share my screen. That way people who want to watch and join in the VC and talk chat. But otherwise, yeah, because I don't think I want to add another stream to this week. I've got... I was going to say I don't recall if I declared anything for Sunday, but I didn't. Sunday's next schedule. But I think I will I might do something Sunday. Sunday might, in fact, if it's still a thing, be working on my blend shapes. So you get to see the bullshit I've been dealing with for the past week at that point. Liked watching Cider earlier, it's very chill. It is, and I do want to stream Euro Truck Sim. Or Ameritruck Sim, either way. The truck sims are great, and they're nice and chill. But I don't know if I want to commit to a stream so much as just hang out with people. And yes, Raffaelzio has a beautiful accent. It's almost as beautiful as he is. I'm gonna call the doggo done. I'm gonna completely ruin the rest of this blue tack on him. Farewell, Raffi dear. Get yourself some sleep, darling. Or, darling. Buy fake nerd. No, sell fake nerd. Buy real nerds. Real nerds maintain their value better. Well, let's grab our gloss sealant. That's glow paint. That's airbrush thinner. That's thickener. That's matte. Where's my gloss? That's shimmer wash. Where's my gloss at? Is it you? Did you get fallen over? Yep. Gloss milk. Because it looks like milk, but it's actually gloss paint. Or gloss, cover. What if I did an unboxing, opened Calico Critters sets? That would be kind of cool. I'd love to watch that, darling. Okay, this is why the thing has the emergency oh. Nope, emergency straps do not wrap around. Alright. Going by hand for this huge-ass bottle of gloss coat. Now, I apply a gloss coat and then apply a matte coat. And the reason I do that is, A, I can choose where to apply the matte coat. So if I don't want the metal to be matte, I want to keep it glossy, I can. Yeah, big stretch. Thank you, darling. But B, gloss coat is actually a harder surface. Matte coat has about the same surface density as your matte paints, generally. So they are not going to take a lot of abuse. But gloss coat's significantly harder. It'll provide a protective surface. Protective surface. Surface. Yes, harder. It'll provide a protective surface to the paint, even if you thin it down, or especially if you thin it down, and then you matte over that with some thin matte to take the shine down. It's a nice little trick I learned. Thin your paints, thin your primers, thin your coats, or your top coats, thin all the things. So I'll take my Ultimate Monotasker brush, mix some water in there, brush the excess off, rinse before it gets into the metal, and add a little bit more water. Twimps to the excess off. And now I can take up the slack, or take up the coating. And with this, it's just a matter of getting it on all the surfaces. Brush gently, because if you over-dried your dry brush, one thing you can end up doing is brushing off the dry brush. If it is essentially just a dusting at this point, it'll come right off when you go to seal your mini. For this reason, a lot of people use an airbrush to apply their sealer, which is not a bad idea whatsoever. I'm lazy and don't want to break out my fucking airbrush because it means cleaning my fucking airbrush. So fuck that. Fuck that noise. I don't think I have enough gloss coat because I forgot how thirsty this model is even after several coats of paint because it's 3D printed. That filament just soaks up all of the everythings. I might have enough for just this model, but when we get through Hero, damn it, Duo, the best of the Yaoi boys, the best of the boy band that fights space fascists, I will need to get more on deck. You don't want to load your brush up too thick, because if you apply too thick of a sealing coat, it'll look fine until the light hits it. Then it will look like you've encased it in lucite. Less of a need to get up in the dog's undercarriage because it's not well painted, because nobody's gonna look at the dog's undercarriage. But I'm doing it anyway. Also, dog dick. Did not notice that at all when painting. It's got a dog dick. E. That's the wrong mouse. I got two mice up here, one for my computer, one for my tablet. I keep calling it a tablet, it's a Chromebook, but it's, you know, not much better than a tablet. I would have actually been better off getting a tablet than it, but it was outrageous fortune. Let's look up Duo Maxwell's eye color. I can show you why eyes are just an insufferable bastard to deal with. I put Duo, and it says Duo of Duolingo. Put space M, and Duo Maxwell's the first one that comes up. Looks like pretty violet eyes. Like blue, pale blue, lavender eyes. What's the term I'm looking for? Not quite lavender. But a desaturated blue. Not sure if that's the right term either. Man, I don't know, I'm just stringing words together and hoping to make salmon. Excuse me, Pris, you're kind of in the way. Pris, let go of the claw. Thank you. So literally... Actually, this one. Salmon. It has the salmons? The sea meat? When stream beats makes you want to dab. Right? God, there was a great moment earlier. Just talking to my dad about how easy it is to tow, or, you know, family in general on break, about how easy some vehicles will total out and how a catalytic converter can total out some older cars. My dad instinctively goes, "Not my car." I'm like, "Actually, yes, specifically your car." "Well, I don't know about that." I'm like, "It's okay, I do. It's my job." And my brother points at me in a way that can be described as almost dabbing. That came to mind. I don't know why. We'll never not be surprised by the amount of force a tiny saw puts out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Already leaping out. Not my car, hits the dab. Been manic all day and starting to crash. Not a bad thing. If you recognize your cycles and recognize your circumstances, you can of course prepare. But if you got shit done, you got shit done. That's always good. When I've got energy, when I've got my... not manic depressive as much as just depressed, and sometimes it relents because it gets tired of beating my ass. When I got my moments where I'm actually functioning like a human, that's when I get all my work done, prepare for that inevitable, well, Sunday night, honestly. Almost each and every one. I need to make Sunday nights more palatable, so I can get some sleep and start going to work on Monday, shudder gasp. Okay, teensy amount of paint. Finest point. Nope, already fucked it up, but that's fine. Let's see if I can repeat the process over here. Not quite. Already dread. Not sure if that's visible, but one eye is larger than the other because eyes are a monster to do. Honestly, saw somebody recommend taking a fine-pointed needle and using that as a brush, and that's probably not a bad technique. Just get a tiny little bit of paint on the tip of a needle. Stab the model in the eye like it owes you money. More like you were just in a good mood. Well, that's always good. Did have the energy to do some chores and cook dinner. Oh no, I have not been... My depression seems to hit me... If it does not hit me during the week, my anxiety and or depression seems to have a fit Sunday night. Possibly when I realize I've got to go back to the job that just fucking canned one of my best friends over bullshit reasons, and then sent out emails saying, hey people, don't just up and quit the job, you know, that's kind of a dick move. Think about your teammates. It's rude to just drop out like that. It's like, dude, really? Like, the good ones are being fired over technicalities. Then you could have easily said, hey, this is probably, you know, this is how it goes, not this. Keep an eye on that shit. The rest of them are quitting because they see you firing the good ones. You dense motherfuckers. I would say AGAB, but nah. Yeah, literally an email that said, don't just, you know, quit your job. It went out to most of a region that handles just California. Like, they only handle California. And that is a nightmare in and of itself. I would not wish California auto damage on anybody myself. But they apparently have been having a mass exodus over there. So they've been stemming the tide by by sending out an email saying, hey, think about what you're doing to your teammates. Not, hey, we're sorry, we're going to increase compensation and make this worthwhile. Because, you know, why the fuck would you do that? Yeah, we owe our teams, we owe our managers, we owe our companies not a goddamn thing. We owe them the labor that they pay for, and honestly, they owe us more than they're paying us for. On that. Like, I've got a great job that's got great pay, but guess what? I'm underpaid. I am underpaid for the amount of work they require me to do, and way underpaid for the amount of work that they say I really, really should actually be doing. However, to be able to replace that shit with, say, streaming would require the equivalent of, like, 1,400 subs or so a month. So, just not a thing that's happening. Corporate emails out of touch with reality, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, the problem with gloss coats is I can never tell when they're actually done drying. But now I have too much gloss coat out, but that's fine. Hoping to hear back from the job with the feds soon, which would at least be remote, which is good, yeah. I was actually about to... Oh, stitching my back from leaning. Hello. Need to put something at my feet I can rest a foot on. What's this too wiggly? I was actually going to ask if you had heard back, but I guess not. They know what they're doing. They would totally hire you, darling. Because you are amazing. It just closed. Bastards. You're welcome, darling. I only speak the truth. Darling. 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 There we go. Get some compensation for those, darlings. Darling! Yeah, I did not expect you to pick up that. Okay, now we move my drink again, because it's always in the way. And we find the mat. There's the mat. The mat's pretty much the one that you don't necessarily want to thin without using a good, actual, proper thinner on it. Also not fitting in this thing. Yeah, nope. Mop, 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 mop. That's kind of what my model looked like when I tried my blend shapes I had put into it. I actually got a video of it, but it's kind of long. Well, kind of big. It's not that long. But it's thick, I guess. A minute and a half or so of me just sort of going over what's going wrong with it, but good first attempt. I gotta, like, not be hard on myself on this. I'm teaching myself I'm teaching myself Blender and Unity. Very small sections of it, but still. So for the mat, what I'm going to do is regret not washing this thing again because it's already collected dust because it's silicon. But I'll break out my dry palette, which is a silicon cabochon mold. And just never not going to be dirty, are ya? And the silicon cabochon mold is great because it's a bunch of little cups you can pour paint into. But it's also silicon, so it's not going to have any problems cleaning up. Nothing sticks to silicon except silicon, super glue, and apparently all the dust in this fucking room. And apparently my mat is... Oh, please don't be solid. Now, the cap's a little sugared, but... Come on. Yeah, it dried, sealing itself shut, which is a good thing, because that way it does not make everything else so much worse. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a little flow dingus in the middle of the cap there, which helps it flow a little bit better, but also is where the drying built up around. So it sealed up faster, which in this case is a good thing. Let's get some mat out here. That's going to be way too much mat because we're thinning it anyway, but you know what, let's see if we can get some back in the bottle just to... Cool thing about these dropper bottles is you squeeze some air out, stick it in the thingamawhat that you just put too much out, and like magic, good chunk of it's gone. Make sure that shit's tight. And let's add a couple drops of purpose-made thinner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ought to do. And then I have some anti-shine additive over here, I believe. That's chipping medium, cracking medium, glow improver, retarder medium, glaze medium, matte varnish, plastic putty. I do not. Oh, that's because I used it over here in this thick thinner. That's right. So, probably the one I should have used, but that's okay. There we go. Add some of that. It's already almost 9. It does not... The workshop just does not feel like it's been that long. I mean, it'll feel like it's been that long when I stand up, that's for certain. Get that all mixed up. Scrape the excess, shake the excess, dry the brush. And if you're having fun, the time flies. Might start early. Try and get 3-9 finished. Well, I will be up at 8, so... Well, I mean, I'll be at work at 8. Wishing I was not, but, you know, whenever you want to start, I'll be there, darling. Darling. Darling! Don't embarrass me like that again. If I did this mixing correctly, this is going to look fine. It's going to dry a matte acrylic color. It's not going to be too thick, so I'm not drowning out a bunch of detail applying it. But everything but the metal will be a nice moderate tone of shininess. And I'm gonna let the dog dry and confirm that that's the case before I move on to do a Maxwell, because if it turns out I fucked up, that will be fantastic. But if I fucked up and it's just the dog, it's just the dog. What the dog doing? Drying. What the dog doing? Out fucking vice. Problem is I just moved that vice because it wasn't being used for anything where it was at. And because I moved it, it's not where I expect it to be. I need to put in a what the dog doing command. So that was matte and that was thinner, yeah. Need to read up on how those random polls work, where it's like a random list. That aren't, you know, the standard basic stuff like the Magic 8 Ball that's easy to program or is already done by Stream Elements. You let the dogs out, woof, 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 woof. I love how that song was a song that was repeated by douche bros all around the world, but was a song about douche bros being douchey and broy. I'm gonna stand up again. Oi!
Dalton.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, darling. I love that clip. Because, of course, somewhere, someone decided Hatsune Miku needed to do bad guy. I mean, duh. Let the dog dry. Stop trying to mess with it. You're just gonna make it worse. Love you too, darling Dread. You get yourself a good night. Consume rest. And I'll see you tomorrow, okay? See you on your stream this time around. Reverse Uno card. Yes, yes. Bye. Let it dry, just let it dry, let the dog dry. He's taking forever to dry. And this is the part that's torture. These floorboards right by the entrance to my little workshop are the squeakiest ones in the house. I need to get on to doing this section of flooring, replacing the carpet, so I can dampen those squeaky ass floorboards. They announced the successor anime to Initial D already, quote-unquote already. I mean, it's been a bit. We've been needing another Street Race anime. Okay. Did apply it too thickly in places. Damn it. That's fine. But it's drying. Ghost isn't really Street Race anime, though. So it's a spiritual successor. And I am seeing that neither of the thinners were appropriate, so I'm just going to apply some matte straight to our boy here. And once that's done, we will probably take off for the night. My butt hurts. Same author, Takun, is in it as a coach. Neat. When applying something like your final coats, you absolutely want to remember the sections you've already gone over. Which is why I tend to try and work, if I can, in a sequence. I've already forgotten my sequence. But if you do something simple like top down, it'll be fine. Head, shoulders, arms and torso, legs, base. At that point, it'll be good. However, my dumbass half the time starts on the chest, because it's usually the broadest, most prominent surface. So that's where my dumb fucking eye goes to. Let it dry, put it down, let it dry. Okay. And I will try to remember to take pictures tomorrow, because those have got to dry, and then I will also... Next session is going to be all about the detailing on CMO. So we got to pick out highlights. We're not going to dry brush a damn thing. Got to get that smoke put in a little bit better. Gotta remember the magic and the fire both highlight from the inside out, so the darkest points are going to be on the outside. I mean, you can go the other way around. It's fine. But it will not look right. People who know will catch it. It'll be off. You'll see it's off. But, I mean, ultimately, it's fine. If you end up going the same route as all the other detailing on the model, and you have your light source with the brightest sections out on the edge, or brightest colors out on the edge, and your darkest colors deep in the recesses, that's the opposite of how a light source works. But if it looks good, nobody's gonna fucking care. Just cleaning up the brush now. Okay. Then last little roll. And point. Put the plastic over it so if something hits it, it's protected. And you can stay in my little minion's hand. Let's switch over to chatting and move on over to the computer. The impersonal confuser. There we go. There we go. 1 second. I'm still blind. Still blind. OBS. Swing over to a window. And then break out the chat. And I'm back. Whew. So that was fun. I mean, Darling Counter, what the fuck? Workshop night is always fun, at least for me. Last 3 hours just vaporized. Exploded in a mist. But it was really fun. Got two models off my fucking table finally. Did more work on SEMO in the past 2 weeks, or technically past week, than I have done in the 2 or 3 years he's been assembled. But I just haven't fucking touched him. And I enjoy doing painting with you guys and sort of walking through some of the steps, walking through some stuff that happens that you're doing, showing you that you will fuck up, showing you that it won't be noticeable, except to you, and that's fine. Like I said originally, I was wanting to do a YouTube channel, but I just couldn't get past the anxiety of it, and what I wanted to do there was tutorials on things like this. And workshop time, workshop night, seems to be a good way of doing that without necessarily doing the planned, scripted content. It's pretty much just, we painting shit, homies. We sanding shit, homies. Get in, nerds, we're getting joint pain. But I don't have my schedule up yet. I'm gonna write it up real quick tonight and then pass out. But Sunday, I don't think I got anything. Let me check my actual calendar. Nope, Sunday's not a goddamn thing. So I think the next time you'll see me is going to be Sunday. We are going to be doing either workshop or Euro Truck or working on my model. It's going to be the model first, getting those blend shapes taken care of, if I don't have them done already. Failing that, we will work on SEMO. Failing that, we'll do Euro Truck. Either way, join me around noon Pacific Standard Time for that kind of impromptu clusterfuck, as all of my Sunday streams tend to be, but they seem to also tend to be my more popular ones. Meanwhile, let's find someone to raid out to. Up. Different monitor, thank you. Let's see who's on right now. You can pause, go to hell. Let's see here. Edda is just chatting. Kells is doing Deus Ex. Alter Ego's doing stream. Kells has the lower number of followers. Let's go say hi to Kells. Especially since they weren't in here with me. I mean, they were streaming, so of course they weren't. I really want to start rating other people than my usuals, but at the same time, fuck it. They're my people. Getting the raid message tapped up right now. There we go. There is our raid message. And as always, darlings, well, first, see you Sunday. But as always, be the monster you needed as a child. Love without hesitation. And fight for peace. Thank you everybody who showed up, and you guys all have yourselves a wonderful night, okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.